You need to hear this if you're a seeker of truth. In the realm of Christian theology, hell stands as a stark and somber reality. It is not merely a place of fiery torment, but a state of being. Hell represents the complete and utter absence of God's boundless goodness and love. Imagine a desolate wasteland, devoid of light, warmth, and life. This is the essence of hell, a spiritual abyss where God's presence is eternally withdrawn. Yet, God, in His infinite love, created humanity for fellowship with Him. He desires that all should come to know Him and experience the fullness of His love. However, He also granted us free will, the ability to choose or reject His offer of salvation. Hell serves as the consequence of this choice. The ultimate separation from God that occurs when humanity chooses to reject His love and grace. It is crucial to understand that God does not send anyone to hell. Rather, it is through our own deliberate actions and choices that we determine our eternal destiny. Just as a ship sailing away from a lighthouse eventually loses sight of its guiding beam, so too do those who turn away from God ultimately find themselves lost in the darkness of their own making. Hell, in its stark reality, stands as a testament to the gravity of our choices and the profound consequences they carry. The concept of hell serves as a wake-up call, urging us to examine our hearts and align our lives with God's will. It is a reminder that our choices have eternal significance and that the path we choose in this life will ultimately lead us to our eternal destination. The choice is ours to make, to embrace the light and love of God, or to face the eternal darkness of separation from Him. Choose hope, choose love, choose God. Jesus, in His earthly ministry, spoke frequently about the reality of hell, not to instill fear, but to awaken humanity to the hope and promise of salvation through repentance. He described hell as a place of weeping and gnashing of teeth, where the fire is never quenched and the worm never dies. This vivid imagery emphasizes the intense suffering and eternal regret that awaits those who reject God's offer of salvation. Jesus' teachings on hell were not intended to be taken lightly. He spoke with authority and urgency, knowing the eternal stakes involved. He warned that hell was prepared for the devil and his angels, but it was also a destination for those who refused to turn from their wicked ways and embrace righteousness. Jesus' words serve as a stark reminder that our choices have eternal consequences and that rejecting God's love leads to profound separation from Him. The term often used in the New Testament for hell is Gehenna. This word held particular significance for the people of Jesus' time. Gehenna was the name of a valley located just outside Jerusalem, a place where garbage and the bodies of criminals were burned. The fires of Gehenna burned continuously, consuming everything thrown into its depths. This physical location served as a powerful symbol for the spiritual reality of hell. Just as Gehenna consumed and destroyed all that was thrown into it, so too does hell represent the ultimate destruction and separation from God that awaits those who reject Him. The imagery of Gehenna is a stark reminder of the eternal consequences of our choices and the urgency of choosing to follow God's path of righteousness. Yet it also highlights the hope and promise of salvation for those who turn to God, embracing His love and grace. To further illustrate the transformative power of compassion and the importance of empathy, Jesus shared the parable of Lazarus and the rich man. In this story, a wealthy man lived a life of abundance, yet overlooked the needs of a beggar named Lazarus, who lay at his gate. Both men eventually passed away, and their destinies were profoundly different. Lazarus was carried by angels to a place of comfort and peace, while the rich man found himself in a place of regret and longing. The parable underscores the lasting impact of our choices and the importance of living a life filled with compassion and love for others. The rich man's focus on material wealth and his neglect of Lazarus' suffering ultimately shaped his destiny. This story serves as a powerful reminder that our actions have eternal significance and that true richness is found in our relationship with God and our love for our fellow human beings. The Apostle Paul, in his letters to the early churches, echoed Jesus' encouragement about the importance of embracing God's love. Paul wrote about the hope and renewal that come to those who turn to God. He emphasized that God's grace is real and that there will be a day of celebration for those who choose to follow him. Paul's words serve as a hopeful reminder that God's love is boundless. While he desires that all should come to him, he also honors our free will. Choosing to accept his offer of salvation brings eternal joy. Paul's message underscores the urgency of embracing God's grace and living a life of love and kindness. Embracing his call leads to a union with him that is everlasting. The book of Revelation, the final book of the Bible, offers a profound vision of the ultimate destiny of humanity. John, the author of Revelation, describes a lake of fire where the devil, the beast, and the false prophet are cast away. This lake of fire is depicted as the second death, symbolizing not just physical demise, but eternal separation from God and all that is good. The imagery of the lake of fire is undoubtedly sobering, but it is crucial to understand that it is not a symbol of God's vindictiveness. Rather, it represents the natural consequence of choosing to live apart from Him. Just as fire consumes and destroys, so too does sin ultimately lead to spiritual death and eternal separation from the source of life itself. Despite the stark reality of hell, the message of the Bible is ultimately one of hope and redemption. God, in His infinite mercy, desires that everyone should find life and joy through repentance. He has provided a way back to Himself through the loving sacrifice of His Son, Jesus Christ. The choice is before us to embrace God's offer of forgiveness and reconciliation, or to face the eternal consequences of our rebellion. The joys of heaven, a place of eternal fellowship with God and unimaginable bliss, await those who choose to follow Him. Let us cherish this precious gift of grace, responding with hearts filled with gratitude and lives dedicated to His will.